welcome to our video production on the negotiation best practices. My name is Nick Snyder.
My name is Mitch Carr.
And we chose two different types of negotiations. The first of which is dealing with a used car sale, and the second of which is called live8.org, or the sale of a domain for a website. For our first negotiation situation dealing with a used car sale, we decided it would be a single issue and a distributive or competitive negotiation. Obviously, it would be a one-on-one situation since it would just be me and Mitch. And we chose this because it's a real-life situation, especially for me. As a graduating college student, my car is kind of a clunker. I'm going to need a new car eventually, or even a better car, and this would prepare me to do so.
For our website negotiation, similar to the car negotiation, it is also a single issue negotiation. This one is integrative or compromise situation, and it is also one-on-one. And we chose this negotiation because it was the most unique and useful example from class, and it allows us to use it for a real-world situation. For the car sale negotiation, we each had unique rules that were assigned to us. As the seller, I know what he wants for the car. I knew he initially offered me the low offer, and I know I'm not going to take my bottom line for it.
As a buyer, I really need this car because I'll be graduating college soon, and I'll need it for my commute to work, and it's just a quality car that I need over my clunker. In this first situation of the used car sale, it was important for me to do some research, so to say, before going to even do any parts of this deal. I figured out that we're dealing with a 2015 Volkswagen Jetta, which has roughly 50,000 miles on it and no wrecks, in other words, a clean title. Mitch had said that he wanted to get around $10,500 for it. At least that's what his ad was for on Craigslist. So I set, on my own time, I figured out my target price, my reservation point, and my BATNA. My target price was $8,500 realistically because that's about all I could budget with having to pay for school loans and other bills. My reservation point I set at $7,000, and my BATNA was to just tell Mitch to just move on and not buy the car from him because I could buy a different car from somebody else for a cheaper price. For this first situation of the used car sale, we each had our own different strategies going into this negotiation. I myself had a plan to offer Mitch my initial offer of $7,000, and I offered this, which was also my reservation price, to get Mitch to his bottom line right off the bat. I wasn't going to go there and play games and haggle around and just negotiate all day.
My initial strategy was to set the asking price higher than my expected outcome. So I set the asking price at $10,500. That was way more than I expected to get the car for, but I was trying to get the most money I could out of the car.
So after I offered $7,000, Mitch then countered my offer at $9,500, and then we came to a mutual agreement at $8,500 for the used car. After all, I really didn't want to spend that much money, but I modified my prices in this negotiation because the car had so little miles on it, and it had a good miles per gallon ratio, and overall it was just a really good quality car that I thought would suit me well for my needs and be very practical.
Along with this, we each encountered challenges during our prep and negotiation.
The first off was Mitch won a lot more money than I could offer. His set price point $10,500 was way out of my budget, and I knew I would have to do some wheeling and dealing in order to get him to move off that price. I also wasn't sure how to set my price points going into this negotiation. That was a challenge for me, especially prior to even doing any research. I didn't know the kind of person, I didn't know if he would be offended, so I really didn't know what to do before this.
Some challenges I had were Nick offered me such a low initial offer. I had to counter at a higher offer to get more out of him because I wasn't going to take his initial offer because it was so low. It was below my bottom line. So my counter offer was higher than when we met in the middle just so I can get more money out of the car. 3 things that worked well in the negotiation as the seller of the car was I was stern with my prices. When he lowballed me that low offer, came right back and offered him an even high offer. And I was starting my prices, not letting him get the steal for the car. I also showed him I didn't need to sell the car, which I really did. This would have showed him that I needed to get the money fast, so he would have stuck to his initial offer. And I didn't give him too much info with the car sale. I didn't tell him that I needed the money to go put on a down payment for a new car. And this would have made him come for the car more and offer way less money. Some strengths and weaknesses during negotiation. For example, my strength was that I had the car and it was worth money, and I wasn't going to let him get it for a steal. My weakness was I needed to sell the car, and with this weakness, I needed as much money as I could out of the car to put for a down payment. Two strategy moves that I could have done better was I could have stuck to my asking price. So when he lowballed me, I could have just stuck right there and said I won't take any less than $10,500, and I could have seen what he would have did from there if he would have offered me more after his initial offer. And I could have also told him someone offered me more money before him. This would have made him bring his prices up, and I would have got more for the car.
In this negotiation of the used car sale, I also figured out 3 things that I thought I did very well. The first of which was not telling Mitch how desperate I really was for this used Volkswagen Jetta. In doing so, Mitch had no idea how stubborn I was on how much I wanted to pay, how bad I needed the car, what I had, what I needed, none of that stuff. And the other thing was not paying over my target price. I set my target price even before going to the negotiation, stuck to it, and it ended up working out in the end. And the third thing was not making Mitch mad with my first initial offer. I realized that, yeah, it was a low offer, but I took a risk, and it kind of worked out in the end, because as I set a low price, it drove the price down, and a mutual decision was met at my set target price. I also figured out some strengths and weaknesses I had for this negotiation. My only strength I really thought I had was to plan ahead and go into the negotiation with a set plan. And that would be setting my target price, my BATNA, things like that, my reservation price. My only weakness was I needed a car badly and would really pay a lot for a good quality car because I was desperate. The 2 strategic moves I could have done better, I thought, was revealing my BATNA to Mitch, and by doing so, he would probably have budged more on the price. I don't know if he had another buyer or any other bids, but in doing so, he would have probably moved off that price if I told him I was going to go and buy a different car from somebody else. The other thing was to set a low price point to get a lower price for the car in the end. In our second negotiation situation of buying the sports.org URL, we each had our separate unique roles.
As a seller, I wanted to get as much as possible as I could for the website.
And as a buyer, I wanted to get a good price for my own business purposes. Some of my personal factors were that I'm trying to start my own business and that I would need this for marketing and other purposes.
Some personal factors for me that influenced the negotiation was I don't use the website anymore, so it wouldn't hurt me if I needed to sell it.
Also for this negotiation, we had a few challenges just like the first negotiation. Mine was that I couldn't afford Mitch's set price. I had to figure out a way to overcome this and eventually did.
My challenge was I wanted my initial offer of the URL. I knew what it was worth, and I didn't want to pay I didn't want what he was going to pay.
Our negotiation went like this. I offered an initial offer of $100,000.
I was not taking $100,000, so I countered at $500,000.
Then I emailed him and we decided to FaceTime and agreed on $350,000. One thing that I would made me modify my price point was since I'm using this for business purposes, I'd eventually gain my money back over time by using the URL.
I modified from he offered me such a low initial offer. I had to come back from this offer and hire more than what I thought the URL was worth.
We also had to identify some key strengths and weaknesses for this situation. Mine was I needed this for my business, needed the capability of the website, and I had a low offer to bring the initial set price down that Mitch had. My only weakness was I upset Mitch with my initial offer.
Some strengths that I had was I knew that he needed the website from the email he sent me. Another strength was it was my URL, and I did not have to sell it to him. My weakness was I didn't have a set price, so he was able to initially offer me a low offer. Each of us had some strategies we could have done different during the negotiation.
Mine was to offer a higher price point than $100,000. I think that really upset Mitch right off the bat and kind of offended him. Also, I could have done some more research on the URL or a like URL for the to figure out my price point, and that would have helped me in the end.
Some strategies I could have done different was I could have said the website was worth more than what he initially offered to get him to pick his offer up. And I could have also told him someone offered me a different offer to scare him if he really wanted the website.